He kissed me like he hated mean, maybe he did. The taste of fury, competition, and something dangerously sweet lingered between us, as if we were still fighting even in the shadows of his apartment. Funny thing, though, by day he wanted my career destroyed, but by night his hands trembled when they found my skin. New York was merciless like that, brutal in its daylight politics, unforgiving in its skyscraper boardrooms where ambition sharpened itself on every edge. Yet when the city dimmed, when office towers emptied and neon lights flickered across half-sleeping streets, a different kind of war began. And I, Ethan Caldwell, junior partner clawing my way up a corporate ladder that was greased with blood and ego, had made the worst mistake of my life. I had fallen for him, Ryan Mercer, the man who turned every meeting into a battlefield, every presentation into a duel. His voice could slice through confidence like a scalpel. His smirk made allies reconsider their loyalty, and his numbers god, his numbers were always just a little better than mine. He was everything I despised in the daylight, arrogant, relentless, maddeningly perfect. And yet he was the only one who knew how to make me lose control. It started like an accident, though we both knew better. Late nights at the office were common. New York didn't let you breathe unless you paid rent in blood. That night, the rain hammered against glass, the skyline blurred, and somehow we were the last two left in the building. He leaned over my desk, close enough for me to smell the sharpness of his cologne, and he whispered something cruel about my pitch. I don't remember what I said back, only that my mouth was on his a moment later. And now here we were, two men caught in the oldest contradiction, enemies who couldn't stop touching each other. Ryan's fingers brushed my wrist as if asking permission. I hated that I trembled. "You're going to ruin me," I muttered against his lips. He smiled, that slow, dangerous smile. "You started this." Maybe I had. Maybe I hadn't. What I knew was this. The line between rivalry and desire had already vanished, and the city outside our window didn't care. The mornings after were cruel. Sunlight made everything sharp again, the clang of coffee cups, the cold click of shoes on marble lobby floors, the stiff air of our firm's conference room where reputations lived or died. He became Ryan Mercer, the predator again, his voice steady as he dismantled my proposals, his gaze dismissive as if my existence barely registered. I played my role, too. Ethan Caldwell, the stubborn competitor who refused to yield, who smirked when my points landed and held his stare a second too long. We never let anyone suspect. Not a glance too soft, not a touch too lingering. In daylight, we were rivals carved from steel. But under night's cloak, I knew the way his breathing hitched when I traced the line of his spine, the way he whispered my name like a confession. It was intoxicating. It was terrifying. The first real crack came one Friday morning. Our firm had just landed a client so big the entire office buzzed like it had been plugged into a live wire. The account meant money, power, influence, the kind of leverage that could make careers immortal. Naturally, both Ryan and I were assigned to lead the pitch. Naturally, only one of us would walk away victorious. "May the best man win," Ryan said smoothly as we left the meeting room, his smirk daring me to take the bait. I didn't answer, not because I was intimidated, but because I knew the truth he'd never admit. We were both already losing. That night, I showed up at his apartment anyway. I shouldn't have. God, I shouldn't have. But when he opened the door, tie undone, shirt half open, exhaustion in his eyes that no one else ever saw, he forgot the rules. I forgot everything except the way his hand reached for mine before I even stepped inside. We didn't talk. We couldn't. Words were too dangerous. Instead, we collided like a storm breaking over the city, as if proving ourselves to each other could somehow erase the truth, that no matter who won in daylight, we were both hostages of the night. And yet, it couldn't last. We knew it, even if we refused to say it out loud. The city was watching. Our colleagues were watching. One wrong move and everything we had built, everything we had clawed our way toward would come crashing down. But here's the thing about New York. It's a city of masks, of shadows, of secrets hidden behind glass towers. And sometimes the most dangerous secrets are the ones you can't let go of. That week, I started to wonder if maybe desire could destroy me faster than ambition. Because Ryan wasn't just my rival anymore. He was my addiction. And addictions don't end politely. Ryan's voice cracked the silence. If we do this, Ethan, we burn everything we've built. I looked at him, at the man who had been my tormentor, my rival, my secret. Then let it burn. The words tasted like ash and freedom all at once. For weeks, we had played this deadly game. Competing in daylight, breaking in each other's arms at night, pretending there was no cost. But the cost had come due. The client account had been the final battlefield, and in winning ITI had exposed him. Or maybe he had exposed me. The whispers had already begun in the office, sharp as knives. Late nights together, the tension in meetings, the way our eyes found each other too easily. People noticed. They always notice. Ryan paced the apartment like a caged animal. Sleeves shoved up, hair disheveled in a way I usually loved but now only reminded me of chaos. You don't get it, he muttered. They won't just fire us. They'll blacklist us. Our reputations, everything we've clawed for, gone in one breath. And what's left if we keep lying? I asked quietly. He froze. For once, he had no perfect retort, no weaponized smirk. Just silence. The kind that hurt more than shouting. The truth is, Ryan wasn't built for vulnerability. He thrived on control, on sharp suits and sharper words. But I had seen behind the curtain scene the man who stayed late not just for ambition, but because he had no one to go home to. I had seen the loneliness stitched into his arrogance. And now, standing there, he was finally showing me the one thing I had craved all along. Fear. Not of losing his career, but of losing me. Ethan, he whispered, my name like a plea. It was enough. I crossed the distance, took his hand, laced our fingers tight. We've been fighting for the wrong thing. You know it. I know it. Let's stop pretending. He shook his head, but his grip on me didn't loosen. The storm broke at work the next morning. The partners called us in, one after another, their eyes sharp with suspicion. They asked about late nights, about distractions, about whether personal entanglements had compromised the firm's biggest account. Ryan lied smoothly like he always did. I almost joined him, almost let the lie wrap around us like armor. But then I caught his eye, and in that fleeting moment, I saw exhaustion. I saw a man tired of carrying armor so heavy it had begun to crush him. So I told the truth. The room went silent. The partners exchanged glances that promised fallout, scandal, headlines. But in that silence, Ryan reached for my hand beneath the polished mahogany table. Just a brush of his fingers, quick, almost imperceptible. Still it was enough. The weeks after were hell. Whispers turned to open sneers. Projects were stripped from us. We became cautionary tales in a firm that prided itself on ruthless order. But for the first time in years, I slept at night. Because I wasn't sleeping alone. Ryan and I found an apartment uptown, a shoebox compared to the glass towers we used to worship. We ate takeout on the floor, laughed at how ridiculous it all was, argued over laundry like normal people. Sometimes, late at night, he would stare at the ceiling and mutter, "We should have fought harder to keep it," and I would kiss him, slow, grounding. We kept what mattered. The city didn't forgive easily. Our names slipped down invitation lists. Our calls went unanswered. Opportunities vanished. But new doors cracked open, smaller, humbler. We started our own consultancy, just us, 2 laptops and too much caffeine. It wasn't glamorous, but it was ours. And when the first client signed, Ryan looked at me with a grin that had no arrogance left in it, only pride. "Guess we're building from scratch," he said. "Guess we are," I answered. And God, I had never felt freer. One night, months later, we stood on the rooftop of our building, the city sprawling beneath us. The skyline glittered, cruel and beautiful, but for once it didn't feel like an enemy. Felt like a witness. Ryan's arm slipped around me, pulling me close. "You ever regret it?" he asked softly. "Every day," I said, smiling when he stiffened. Then I kissed him before he could pull away. "And I'd do it all over again." He laughed, the the sound raw and unguarded, and rested his forehead against mine. The city hummed around us, but in that moment, it was just us two men who had burned everything they thought they needed, only to find what they had wanted all along. Not victory, not power, not reputation, just each other. And maybe that was the real win. That morning, as dawn split the sky, Ryan squeezed my hand and whispered, "We survived the daylight." I smiled, watching the first sunlight turn the city gold. Yeah, and we'll keep surviving. Together, because love, in the end, wasn't about winning or losing. It was about finally finding someone who chose you, even when the world didn't. And he chose me, always. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.